Hi again. So where am I today? Okay, well I'm at Fisherman's Car Park in Stratford upon Avon. Going to be paddling on the Avon today, right through the centre of Stratford upon Avon. Let's get on the water. So it's lovely and early at the moment. The car park, Fisherman's Car Park at Stratford upon Avon, they've just started charging actually, which is a shame because for hundreds and hundreds of years it's been known as the bathing place. These days it's known as the Fisherman's Car Park, and which is ironic really because there's no fishing allowed there. However, it's a wonderful launch point. It certainly is. Great parking if you get there early. It's a good place for a picnic for family as well, so it's not a bad place to be. Now the River Avon goes through Stratford, winds its way all the way from Naseby, Northamptonshire, all the way through Northamptonshire, Warwickshire, gets down to here, goes all the way across through Pershore, Evesham, all the way down, wending its way through to the River Severn, and obviously from the Severn out to sea. So it really is a lovely river. It's a lovely river to paddle. I've paddled pretty much all of it now, and I love it. It is good. So Stratford upon Avon, it's quite an interesting name actually. For a start, it's Stratford upon Avon is the town, Stratford on Avon is the district. Yeah, the locals like it to be called Stratford upon Avon. Now, the Stratford part of it is interesting because Strat is Roman, comes from street, which was the Roman word for road. So it's the road. A ford, well, a ford is a Celtic word or an Old Briton word, meaning a path or a road that goes through a river. So it was street ford upon, obviously, the Avon. Now Avon is a Celtic word for river. You'll find quite a lot of Avons in Wales, for instance. So it's the street that forded the Avon. Now round here it was a really important place in Roman times. There was a very important road came across through Stratford and across through the river through a ford, and since then there were also some medieval very important roads, and it was quite an important place actually. So yeah, there you are. So that's Stratford upon Avon. That's where that bit comes from. If you are just starting out paddleboarding or kayaking and canoeing, the River Avon really is a very friendly river most of the time, unless there's been lots and lots of rain and heavy weather. It's really quite an easy paddle. You can paddle both ways on it quite simply. When it's in flood, obviously it's roaring, but yeah, you can paddle backwards and forwards on it. The current's not so strong you can't get back to where you needed to be, so it is quite a friendly place to learn really on. So I'm just coming into Stratford now. Now in Roman times, like I said, there was a ford here. This is the main road. There was a ford that came across, and then there was a wooden bridge from about sort of the 11th, 12th century. The wooden bridge obviously fell into disrepair, and from 1484, Hugh Clopton, a man who went on to become Lord Mayor of London, built Clopton Bridge. This is Clopton Bridge. It's been here since 1484. It's a beautiful bridge actually. It's needed repairs a number of times. a couple of times due to flooding, and once during the English Civil War, where the Royalist soldiers put explosives, gunpowder, under one of these arches and blew it to pieces to stop Cromwell's army coming across it. This was a real area for the English Civil War. There was a lot of battles went on. Yeah, quite an amazing bridge really. Yeah, it's had a lot of work over the years, but it's still here, and I'm hoping it will still be here for a long time to come. Now this second bridge, this was built to take a tramway that went from the canal basin over the other side all the way through 16 miles to Moulton in the Marsh, to take various goods from the canals and to the canals from Moulton in Marsh. It was quite an important market town at the time, and this actually goes down as the first ever railway in Warwickshire in 1826. It was horse-drawn, but nevertheless it's still classed as a railway. So this is the tramway bridge. It's now just a footbridge. Went into disuse round about 1900s, and the rails were taken up in 1918, just at the end of the First World War. So yeah, it's been a footbridge ever since then, but a very handy one it is too. This is the start to the Stratford upon Avon canal. From here it takes, in the first 2.5 miles there are 17 locks, because it goes up 115 feet, 35 metres, and once it's up in the air and across the hills it goes all the way to Birmingham. Yeah, put in, it was a really important route actually, put in to take freight and goods and coal and all sorts of stuff from the River Severn onto the Avon, then onto the Stratford upon Avon canal, and all the way up to Birmingham and back. There's a lot of rowers out today, very important place for that. So Stratford upon Avon got missed out really by the Industrial Revolution. It was mostly sheep were farmed around here, and because of that, the tanning of the skin, and because of that it was quite famous for gloves. So there were a lot of glovers around here, and in fact there was a John Shakespeare was a famous glover around here. He married a quite well-to-do woman called Mary Arden, and they had 8 children, one of which was William Shakespeare. Now William Shakespeare, everybody knows, the playwright and bard, and the town since then obviously has become quite famous for the tourist industry regarding Shakespeare. The River Avon was made navigable hundreds and hundreds of years ago by putting in flash locks. They weren't like the locks that we have today on navigable rivers, where you had 2 gates with some water that you could move up and down in between them. They had one gate at a weir where you could hold all the water back until it was up against the gate, and then you would lift it up like a scissor gate, and as the water rushed out, a boat could rush down the weir. It was a bit odd really, but there were quite a lot of those along the Avon. But then in the 1800s proper locks were invented, 1700s really, and it was made properly navigable. That did actually lose its way a little bit, and it became unnavigable again in sort of the 18th, 19th century. And it was only really restored by volunteers in around 1974. So the locks that are there now were all really restored and put back together again and working again from 1974. So going back to Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, he was born in Stratford upon Avon. It's very famous for him, and the tourist trade is really based around William Shakespeare. Now that all started really from an actor in 1769 decided to have a Shakespeare Jubilee. All actors understood all of Shakespeare's plays. It was their bread and butter stuff really. So he decided to have a Shakespeare Jubilee in 1769. It took off like mad and everybody wanted to come here for the Shakespearean experience, if you like. It gets quite busy actually through here in summer. It's not too bad sort of in autumn. It's going to get quite busy again today, I would think, as it's supposed to be a really lovely day, but we'll see. So in 1829 a local brewer with a lot of money, Edward Flowers, decided to expand on the William Shakespeare experience by funding the building of a theatre, and the theatre was the Shakespeare Theatre. It was a wonderful place, beautiful building if you look at pictures of it. Unfortunately in 1926 it burnt down, and to replace it a new building was built, which is now the Royal Shakespeare Theatre, which is this beautiful thing in front of me. Some say it's beautiful, some say it's not in keeping with the town. However, nowadays I think there's two theatres in one. In there may even be three, but by all accounts it's quite a technologically advanced place inside to play. It was actually something else that is really great about it, is it was the first important building to be designed by a female architect in the whole of Britain. In 1932 I believe it opened. The architect was Elizabeth Scott, and yeah, hiya, yeah, and she built that. Wonderful. But yes, this is Stratford upon Avon. There's all sorts of things going on. The town, the actual town sort of area, Stratford's shopping area, is over that side of the river. This side of the river, great parking. There's also a really good butterfly farm if you want to take your kids to have an experience with some massive butterflies. That's really good over there as well. It's got great transport links with the trains. You can easily get here by train, that's quite good. There's some great walking to be had around here, great pubs and restaurants. It is a great place, but as far as paddling goes, if you want to learn on a nice river, this is definitely the place to be. So anyway, that's Stratford upon Avon. If you get a chance to paddle it, do come here, it's really great. I love the place, it's not far from me. I come here all the time. Anyway, like, subscribe, stay tuned, and happy paddling.